You are listening to Medical Spa Insider, presented by the American Med Spa Association. This week, AmSpa founder Alex Tiersch sits down with Lina Colleli from ArtMedica Aesthetics to chat about starting a new practice and how she approaches her consultations.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the podcast. This is Alex Tiersch, and welcome to Medical Spa Insider. We are very, very lucky to have on the AmSpa video hotline the amazing and talented Lina Colleli of ArtMedica Aesthetics in Vienna, Virginia, Northern Virginia. And Lina is a nurse practitioner. She's got a very interesting background, which I want to dive into. We're going to talk a little bit about the consultation process and some of the things that go into doing consultations. Consultation, as many folks know, is number one, it's very important. It's also kind of a lost art. I think a lot of folks think they do it well. And Lina, you also have a new business. You just opened your own med spa, which is, first of all, congratulations on that. That's very exciting.
Thank you so much.
I want to hear a little bit about your practice and how does it feel to be a business owner? Like, this is a new thing for you.
It's a new thing for me. Our grand opening day was November 17th. So not even a full 2 months ago. I haven't had time to process, to be honest. When people ask, like, are you so proud? Like, how do you feel? I'm like, I don't even know what emotion to process because I feel like I've just been go, go, go.
Yeah.
But
don't worry, that'll go away in like 15 years. So you'll be fine.
Yeah. But through all of the go, 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 I am like very happy. It's so incredible. I'm so proud of the team that we've built. Like, we're small but mighty, and I'm very proud of everyone with the little resources that I've provided them and supporting each other. So I'm really happy. I'm stressed, but it's a good kind of stress.
Did you always want to open your own business? Are you like a born entrepreneur, or how did you get to the point where you're like, okay, I'm going to open a med spa?
So being in aesthetics was actually never the plan in the beginning. When I graduated high school, I told my mom that I wanted to go to school for fashion editing. And she was like, absolutely not. If you don't major in pre-med or law, I'm not paying for your tuition. And so So I majored in pre-med. And when I did that, I just yearned for a creative outlet because before I graduated high school, I actually did fashion blogging anonymously, and I was like really into sculpting and art, and I just needed a creative outlet through my biology degree. And so I did freelance makeup artistry and continued to do the content creating. I graduated my bio degree, took my MCAT, did well, was about to apply for medical school, and then I had a quarter life crisis. I was like, I am not passionate about becoming a doctor. I ended up liking biology, but I just was not passionate enough to pursue an MD. And I was like, how do I combine my love for beauty and bio? And then aesthetic medicine was the answer. So
now did you know you wanted to be in aesthetic medicine though the whole time?
No, not the whole time. So, okay. Well, before I pursued nursing school, yes. So when I was really searching for, okay, what do I do next in like my career now that I've finished my bio degree? The only thing that you can really go into if you're not pursuing an MD degree is is research.
Yeah.
I definitely not passionate about research. So when then I stumbled upon aesthetic medicine, a way that I could combine my love for beauty and bio, I was like, this is what I want to do. So, and that's what geared me to go to nursing school. So right before I even pursued nursing, I was like, I want to start a medical spa practice. I want to go into aesthetics. That's what I'm going to do. In terms of entrepreneurial spirit, I think that I have a little bit of that in me. I think the main factor of my work ethic and what has brought me here is honestly like my mom. I get a lot of my work ethic from her. She came to this country when she was in her early 20s, taught herself English, put herself through cosmetology school, gave me everything I ever wanted and more, raised us as a single mom. I grew up having everything I ever wanted as like a first gen, and seeing like all the sacrifice that she made for my brother and I and how hard she worked has been honestly my driving force too. I just knew that whatever I do in my adult life, in my career, I just want to be as successful as possible to like give that all back to her, because that's how I could say thank you. Not that I think that she tells me that I owe her, but I feel like I owe it to her. So
first of all, she must be blown away with what you're doing, and so proud. I'm curious. So a couple of things that you mentioned, what was it and tell me as much as you're willing to share. What was it about becoming a doctor that you were, you know, turned off by? Because you could be, an aesthetic physician, right? There's plenty of outlets there. What was it that led you to into nursing as opposed to becoming a physician?
I think being a doctor in aesthetics is incredible. What scared me was the residency process. I just knew
Yeah.
that you get placed in your residency by like a robot, a computer essentially, and putting all of that work, that blood, sweat, and tears and years into like having a robot, a computer essentially match you to where your faith ends up, like
Yeah.
that's scary. And I wanted to put my faith in my own hands as much as I can, so. And it
Yeah.
was, and I
Makes
did
sense.
feel like I knew that I wanted to pursue aesthetic medicine, and pursuing like a RN and NP route would get me there quicker.
Yeah,
So
for sure. For sure.
yeah,
By the way, what does your mom say about you owning your own business? Is she so excited and blown away, or?
she's definitely very proud of me, but till this day, she still asks me, okay, so when are you going to medical school? And I'm like, it's not happening. But yeah,
Yeah.
I truly believe in my heart that she is proud of me, but she is someone that's always been like pushing me to always do my very best and wanting more for myself. So a little part of me is like, I don't know if she's like completely proud yet, but I'm starting to believe it a little bit.
She'll get there. Yeah, she'll get
Yeah.
there. You have some experience in other areas of nursing medicine as well. I want to say it was like acute care or I can't remember exactly what it was, but
Yeah, no, the cardiac surgical ICU.
yeah, that's right. That's what it was. And I'm curious, what's your impression of aesthetic medicine now that you are an owner and you're kind of really in it versus what your vision of it was when you were looking at it from the outside? Is it all that it lives up to be? Is it more than you thought it would be? Is it less? Is it harder? Is it easier? What's your kind of thoughts on that?
Like in terms of business ownership or just practicing aesthetic
Just
medicine?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of how you feel about aesthetic medicine. Are you still like, are you still as excited and passionate about it as you are? Because, owning a business, the reason I ask is there's a kind of an old allegory where, there's this old cabinet maker. He loves making cabinets, and then he goes into business selling cabinets. And within a year, he hates cabinets because now he's just
Mhm.
making cabinets. So have you found that? Are you as excited about aesthetic medicine as you've always been? Has owning a business and being in the industry changed your outlook at all? Or are you still, what do you think about the industry is kind of what I'm asking.
Okay. So I am still very passionate about aesthetic medicine. That part of me has not changed yet. Again, I'm only not even a full 2 months into business ownership, so
Yeah.
maybe that changes in the future. But I I sound really corny when I say this, and I feel like I come off as corny when I say this. I really love my job. I am so passionate about my job because as a freelance makeup artist, I used to give my clients that confidence boost for a day. And as an injector, I get to give my patients confidence that lasts several months to years. It's so
Mhm.
fulfilling to me to see that. But in terms of like what I think of the industry, I mean, there's a lot of pros and there's a lot of cons, just like in any
Mhm.
industry. But I don't think that I've gotten to the point where I'm not passionate about it yet. I can see
Yeah.
how like business admin stuff, the back end office stuff, like it could take a toll on me, but not just yet. So
No, and I think, a lot of folks don't ever get that way.
yeah.
Aesthetics is, I think you have to love it. And the folks who love it really, really end up thriving in it. Your first 2 months in it though, what's the hardest thing you've had to deal with opening a business?
So before I launched this business, I remember being so nervous about payroll. I was like, oh my God, I don't
Mhm.
know how to cut a paycheck. The word employee tax withholding like made me nauseous. And
Mhm.
that part has actually been really easy. And so what I actually am surprised about, or what I was surprised about, is that what has been the most difficult thing thus far is setting up the products, inventory, and the services in the EMAR system and booking system that we use, and how
Yeah.
meticulous and detail oriented that had to be, like linking each product to each service and made sure all the numbers are right, and like keeping track of inventory. That actually has been the hardest part so
Yeah.
far. And then onboarding employees, I've never had to do that before. So that's very new, and making sure that they feel empowered and trained and everything runs smoothly. So I guess the back end office stuff in terms of the system that we're using and empowering and onboarding team members.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. And that's one of the pieces of the puzzle that, only gets kind of more complex as you grow. How are you like focused on getting clients? I know you worked at a med spa, or in aesthetics before you went out on your own. What's your strategy for bringing folks in the door to keep the lights on and pay your employees?
So I'm very blessed in regards to my patient load. It's like such a blessing and a curse at the same time because I feel the weight of my patient load in terms of like, I feel like I let down a lot of patients that I can't see. At the practice that I used to work at, I actually stopped taking new patients several months before I left because I am booked out for 4 to 5 months, and the wait list is, again, I'm very blessed, is really long. And
That's awesome.
so, yeah, I'm like really, really grateful for the trust that my patients put in me and that I'm able to do what I love to do because of the patients that trust me with their face. So, in terms of bringing patients to the door, it has been a natural transition of the same exact thing. I'm at a point where I'm actually going to stop taking new patients again. Booked out 4 to 5 months. The wait list is over 100 people long.
Wow. That's
Yeah, so,
crazy.
and the driving factor, or what I've have found to have been so successful in that aspect of my career, is social media. And it's annoying, but it's great at the same time.
Mhm.
90% of my patients are found through social media. And I want to
Really?
say 10%, yeah, 90. Every single new patient that I've always asked, because whenever I have a new patient, I always ask, hey, like, how'd you find me?
Yeah.
90% of the time, it's social media. And the other 10% is referral. So with building my books and keeping the lights open, I've been very blessed. It's been a natural transition. Like right off the bat, hit the ground running, which again, so fortunate as a new business owner. But in the beginning, when I was building my books, for sure, social media. And then
Yeah.
social media came really easy for me because before I became an injector, I was a content creator. My
Hmm.
creative outlet, when I was working on my bio degree, I did content creating that was geared towards fashion and beauty. And those those followers that I had like gained in that era of my life was like a natural transition into patients because they had already trusted my vision in beauty and fashion, and aesthetic medicine has to do with beauty. So it's been, I mean, such a huge blessing. So
No, that's amazing. I mean,
yeah.
kudos to you and congratulations on that because it's not always so. And what types of services are you mainly injectables? Do you have any energy devices that you're using, or
So,
are you looking to expand?
right. Yeah, so all injectables right now. I do have a master esthetician that came on with me right away.
Yeah.
I don't have the laser devices, but we do offer skin pen microneedling, chemical peels,
Okay.
and diamond glow facials.
Yeah.
I I do want to, because I'm a business owner for the first time, I want to move in this as strategically as possible. So I told myself that I would do the pre-treatment consults, the skin consults, if I see that a patient is bringing up a skin concern that I can't address with the services that I offer.
Hmm.
Making a running list of the services that I am referring out to, because I am a provider that will always refer out for you, or to a proper provider that would give you a better treatment for the concern that you're bringing up. I do not look at it as I'm losing a patient. If anything, I'm gaining a patient and their trust when I'm referring out for the
Yeah.
appropriate treatment. So I told myself I would make a running list for the devices that I'm referring out to, and whatever device that I'm referring out to constantly would kind of help guide me into bringing a device on first.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the goal.
So when do you think that's going to happen? When's the first big purchase going to be? Because that's always a nerve-wracking time when you make
Oh my
that.
God, it's so nerve-wracking. I actually met with a laser rep last week. And then I have another meeting with a laser rep on Friday. If it happens, if I actually bring on a laser device, I would actually want it to happen like now. I think it would be kind
Hmm.
of silly to have it happen in like come around spring, summer, when like the hotter months roll around to launch a
Hmm.
laser device. So if it's gonna
Hmm.
happen, it has to happen now or next
Hmm.
fall and winter.
I wait till you get to the medical spa show and there's 200
I know.
exhibitors trying to get your business.
Yeah.
Speaking of So first of all, amazing that you have this incredible book of business being booked out that long, and it's just you doing the injections. So you've got your master esthetician. So you have is she bringing in new business as well through facials and things like that yet?
So she is, a lot of my patients have seen her or started to see her. So
Gotcha.
she's been a master esthetician for 6 years, but the issue is she hasn't been in like the right environment for her to like really grow her books and like excel her career,
Yeah.
because the locations that she was at before, like the 2 locations, had multiple locations that she would actually work at. And I do believe that it's really hard to build your books if you're working for a business that is spreading you over multiple locations, because you're going to be
For
there
sure.
a certain amount of days, and that limits the patients that can see you if at certain weekday that you're at that practice doesn't work for them.
Yeah.
So she did not bring a big book with her, but it's been like her books have actually been a lot better than we anticipated, faster, because the idea is because she has a lot of experience in the field, like 6 years working in the industry. The goal was for her to have 2 master esthetician days and then 3 front desk days, like to like supplement her hours, have someone that's
Yeah.
really experienced at the front desk. And once her books got busy, we would just naturally wean her off of front desk. I mean, 6 weeks into it, we were able to wean her off 1 front desk day, like pick up a third SD day, 1 front desk day. And it's like where I'm really, really grateful for my patients that
Yeah.
trust me and then will trust any other provider that I bring on, because they know that I'm very detail oriented and that I do my research and that I wouldn't recommend somebody or a
Hmm.
treatment that I don't believe in. So,
Well,
yeah.
that's a perfect segue into what we wanted to talk about, which is um, the consultation process. And you've mentioned when we were talking before we started about the pre-treatment consult and how important it is. And I feel like everybody knows that, right? Everyone knows it's important, but there are some folks who just seem naturally to do it better and to just kind of get it. And I'm curious what number one, why you're passionate about that. Like why is this, one of the things that you're really gravitating towards that you want to talk about, you want to spread the word on. And then what's let's get into it. And what's kind of the secret sauce, and how do you do that? And I would assume your background as a makeup artist and doing content and beauty, I think that would probably help.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the reason why I think this topic is so important is because I experience a lot of patients in my chair express how grateful they are for me about the way that I talk to them and the way that I explain things, and that they don't feel like another number, that they feel like they're my
Yeah.
only patient that I'm seeing. And that makes me feel like maybe other providers that they've seen don't put as much emphasis on the pre-treatment consult, because a lot of the times what my patients are expressing, they're like in and out and they like don't really know what happened.
Yeah.
They don't know what product was injected. It was kind of a daze to them from
Yeah.
what, I'm not saying that everybody practices this way, but it's been a recurring theme that I've come across when I have a new patient that's been treated somewhere else, and they like make it a point to express to me like how great their experience was based on like the things that I just listed. So in terms of the secret sauce, the biggest thing is understanding that the patient is not the professional that knows all the ins and outs that you have to offer. And you really need to break down each thing to them in like the most basic way, which again is a common thing that we know, like as healthcare providers, to be able to explain things in basic terms and stuff.
Hey, everybody, it's Alex Tiersch, and I'd like to thank our sponsors for this podcast, CallRail. A single missed call can cost your med spa thousands. You're not just losing a consultation, you're losing a high-value client and all their future business. That's why CallRail is the must-have lead engagement platform for med spa owners focused on profitable growth. Over 220,000 businesses trust CallRail to make sure every marketing dollar counts. CallRail transforms your front desk operations by identifying which channels bring in your highest paying clients, answering and qualifying calls even after hours, and automating routine tasks so your team can focus on what matters most. And because client trust is everything, CallRail's platform supports HIPAA compliance to keep your data safe and secure. It's time to stop leaving revenue on the table. CallRail is the solution. Get started with a free 14-day trial, no credit card required. Sign up today at callrail.com/AmSpa.
No matter what a patient is booked for, I will always ask them, what made you book for blank? So for example, if somebody is just booked for talks, my pre-treatment consults will always start with, hey, what made you book for talks? And that might sound silly because you're thinking, somebody booked for talks, they're obviously concerned about their wrinkles. But I can't even count on one hand how many times a patient has said, my laugh lines. And I can understand from a patient's perspective why they would try to book for talks and categorize a laugh line as a wrinkle. But talks is not the treatment that I would recommend for a laugh line and nasolabial fold. So when I'm asking open-ended questions, and it may be silly open-ended questions in regard to their appointment, at the end of the day, a patient's going to book for things that they think are going to address their concern without the professional background knowledge that a provider has. So when you're guiding the questions and you're asking something simple as, what made you book for blank? That opens up the segue of really understanding their true concerns, their goals, their history. And that, again, is a natural transition to like gaining their trust. Because when you're understanding their concerns, their goals, and their history, and you're not just thinking, okay, they're here for talks, I'm going to do your forehead dosing, that's it, bye. You're not really fully understanding what could have been other concerns to really understand what bothers them. So you can then recommend the most appropriate treatments and curate this treatment plan that's going to keep them coming back and gain your trust, and you understand them better as an individual, like what really like brought them in. Because 9 times out of 10, like a patient doesn't usually have one concern. So when you ask these open-ended questions about what made you book for this, and then they start talking about other things that bother them, then you really understand all their concerns. And for me, when a patient is listing multiple concerns, whatever the concern may be, I make sure to break it down in 3 ways. 1, I establish the concern, and then I really educate the patient in simple ways what's causing that concern, the biological and aging process to cause that concern. So they really understand what's happening. Then I recommend the treatment and really break down how that treatment works and why that treatment would address that concern. Because now you can sit there and a patient can tell you their concerns, and you can be like, this is what's going to help you. And like, that's it. But they're like, okay, they're probably just trying to sell me. They're just trying to get me to do this. But if you really break it down to them and make them understand, like, this is your concern. This is what's causing the concern. This is the treatment that I'm recommending. This is how the treatment works and why it'll address your concern. And then the last thing is making sure whatever treatment plan that I'm recommending, it's going to be in a way that addresses their main concern first. And typically what I found is the first thing a patient speaks up about in terms of their concerns is their main priority. And as from a patient satisfaction standpoint, if you're addressing a patient's main priority first, everything else is just a cherry on top in your treatment plan to just gain greater patient satisfaction.
Right. So I have, that's so interesting. I have tons of questions. First of all, how much of this do you collect, if any, ahead of time? Do you have like a pre-questionnaire? Do you have them fill out like a treatment questionnaire ahead of time? Or is this all done kind of face-to-face, just talking to them when they come in and sit in the chair?
No, face-to-face talking to them.
Yeah. Which is, a lot of folks have will have a lot of the stuff filled out so you can kind of go over it, which I suppose saves time from an efficiency standpoint. But I think what you're saying is that you talking them through that every time really establishes that personal connection and that trust. And that a lot of times what you're hearing is that they're not getting that from other providers. And so hearing it from you, explain it in the way that you explain it, you do have you connect with people obviously very well. That obviously is getting folks to want to come back, right? And they're trusting you.
And I think a big thing that's overlooked and I think is really important to understand for new providers, new injectors, aspiring injectors, is that yes, aesthetic medicine is medicine, but it's 100% elective. And when it comes to regular medicine as a provider, you're automatically going to gain patients some patients based on the insurance that you accept. But with aesthetic medicine, that patient has full autonomy to pick you based on if they trust you and trust the results that you're going to produce. And like, in my opinion, if you don't have trust with your patients in aesthetics, like you don't have anything.
For
But
sure.
yeah.
For
And
sure.
that trust is 100% built in making them comfortable in the pre-treatment consult, really understanding them as an individual, their concerns, tailoring a treatment plan that really addresses each and one of those concerns. They feel heard, and then they like want to come back for another treatment that you recommended because
Mhm.
they're understanding like this is going to address my concern. I now understand it. And it might almost come off as salesy and like I'm pushing, but I'm actually not. I actually make it a point to tell my patients whatever consult that I'm recommending or that I'm conducting. My whole point is just to empower you with education, not make you feel like you have to do anything. And then you're empowered with that education and you decide what we do. I'm just going to fully
Mhm.
lay it out on the table. This is what's concerning you. This is a treatment that's going to best address your concern. If you're ready, I'm ready. If you're not, that's okay. It just like
Yeah.
is a natural transition to them wanting to seek more treatment, add on a treatment. Even if that's not like my intent, I'm just truly just trying to educate, which then
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the whole point too. And I think a lot of folks, it's amazing that you're kind of grasping this already. First of all, how long do your consults typically take? How much time do you block
so
off for an initial consult?
these pre-treatment consults actually are not just individual like consultation appointments. They
Okay.
happen during the treatment that they book.
Okay.
So if I had to put a number on it, it really varies depending on like the depth and like how many concerns a patient has, if they're super nervous,
Hmm.
if they have a lot of questions. But say it's a cheek filler appointment, it's a new patient cheek filler appointment, then that appointment is 45 minutes. And a majority of that appointment is talking. The actual injection process
Mm.
is like 1/3 of it. So
Right.
it's kind of baked into the treatment. I barely do in-person consultations now. I used to do when I was starting out, like I offered free consultations. I did virtual consultations for $50. I don't offer that now. If I had an in-person, I do offer in-person consultations for they're 30 minutes. And then if it's a new patient talks, those are 30 minutes, but my returning talks patients are 15 minutes. So I guess you could say like a solid 15, at least a solid 15 minutes, sometimes longer.
Right. Right. And for new
Yeah.
patients, obviously it's longer. And then when you are done with that first patient, you said that you're coming up with the treatment plan and you're presenting them with the education for this is where here's the plan and the education and the process for where this will get you where you want to get based upon the science and the treatments and the medicine. Um, what are they normally getting? Is it like a document that you're handing them, or is this like, here's your treatment plan? How much are you laying this out of? And then ultimately that gets into pricing and how much they choose and how do you kind of flow into that discussion?
Oh, in the pre-treatment consult, not only do I educate them about the treatment that I'm recommending and why it would address their concerns, I fully go over the cost, the building
Hmm.
process, and set realistic expectations. That is so huge because that's like another thing that I find across the board when I see a patient that's unhappy, maybe with like their past experiences about there's a lack of setting realistic expectations to like what the treatments that they're pursuing. In terms of what they get, I don't write it down on a piece of paper. I
Hmm.
obviously chart in my EMR and I have a blurb in my notes about the future consult that we conducted. Typically, when I'm conducting a future consult or consultation, they're automatically booking their next treatment before they leave.
Hmm.
So they don't it's rare for a patient to ask for that plan. Sometimes they're like,
Hmm.
can you write these things down for me? Because that was a lot, which I will do. I'll like actually just hand write it. But
Yeah.
typically they're actually just booking out the first thing that I recommended in the treatment plan. They've already been educated. We're always rechecking back in for when I see them next, be like, hey, is this still aligned with your goals that you like want to
Hmm.
address? I always, even if we've done like a thorough pre-treatment consult in your last appointment and we understood that we were to come and do the next treatment today, but your goals may change or you're happy with what we have already injected. So always like checking back in, but typically they're actually booking their next appointment. They're already on board. And
Hmm.
then I refer to my notes that I personally write.
Yeah. And I mean, do you have an idea of how many patients or percentage of patients rebook before they leave? I mean, that's obviously the holy grail is you want folks to rebook before they leave. Um, You're
You
used to
know,
that.
see,
How,
my 2026 goal is understanding KPIs more, which I have not gone into too
yeah,
much. But I if I had to put a percentage, it's not accurate, a
yeah,
rebooking, I would say it's like 80%.
yeah.
I
That's
mean,
great.
or it might, I feel like, again, I don't know the percentage, but every single one of my patients that leave here, they book out a next treatment
Yeah. I
almost.
mean, well, that's the rebooking percentage right there. I mean, it's almost every single one. So,
Let's just say
um,
80%.
you know what though? I mean, what your story as far as not necessarily grasping all the KPIs right now is not uncommon. I think that's right now you're just trying to keep your head above water and you're doing what you love. And it's amazing that you're booked out 4 or 5 months and you've got a waiting list. How do you deal with that? You got folks that are calling and saying, I would love to come see you. And you're going to say, I'm booked. I can't. Like, how are you going to grow and expand? What's your plan for that? Are you trying to bring somebody else on, or how do you expand? Do you want to
Yeah.
expand?
Absolutely. So, the medical spa that I've built out is actually 7 treatment rooms. So we are going to have, I actually have an injector joining on in 2 weeks. Thank God.
Well, that's
Um,
good. Congratulations.
yes. So the plan is definitely to have a team of injectors. With a waiting list, it takes a huge toll on me actually, because I really, really, like, I'm not just saying this to say this. I really love my patients so much and they mean the
Hmm.
absolute world to me. I can't even step back and be proud about my patient load and the waiting list and be like, oh my gosh, that's incredible that I've come this far. I'm thinking about all of the people that I'm letting down. So my
Yeah.
plan and goal is to build a team of credible, talented, skilled, and safe providers that ArtMedica Aesthetics is known as a team and practice that could produce reliable and safe results so that the people on my wait list would hopefully be comfortable to see other providers that I personally train. And that way, I don't feel like I'm letting down a bunch of people when I go to sleep at
Yeah.
night. So
It's
that is the
tough, right?
goal. Yeah,
It's tough. It's so hard.
it's an incredible problem to have, and I do not want to come off as ungrateful, but it does bear on me. It weighs on me based on, like, I feel the weight of letting down all these people, and hopefully that I
Yeah.
cannot let down these people by providing them with an option that is just as skilled as me and, like, hopefully even better than me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's definitely answers out there and there's resources out there. One of the question that came up when you mentioned if 90% of your patients are coming from social media, the rest are referrals, and I almost guarantee that almost all those referrals are going to social media too and checking you out. What we've found just across the board in this industry is that the patient is much more informed because of social media, because of AI, whatever it is. And that's sometimes good and sometimes it's not so good, depending on how you look at it. I'm curious with all of your patients coming from social media. One of the things that I've always wondered from these types of patients is a lot of them tend to have maybe not unrealistic expectations, but they have an idea of kind of what they want. They're educated about the products. They kind of come in and start, saying what's what, or they start saying, this is what I want to do. Your approach is to explain it from, the biology side and the medical side and the cause and effect and all that. Is that ever in conflict? And how do you deal with that with some of these patients who maybe maybe too educated or overeducated? And you have to be like, oh, kind of here's how we're doing that. Because I've heard that as an issue for some folks. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes complete sense. I actually like it. So I
Yeah.
like when a patient comes in, like, knowing so much about, I'm like, this makes my job a little bit easier. Now, sometimes they like
Right.
are consuming things that are not true because social media is a wild, wild west. But a lot of times what I'm seeing is they're educated about how masseter talks can potentially lead to jowling, and they're educated about, like, Xeomin and, like, rate of resistance. And I think it's really great because I think that can be really empowering, but it can be a con when patients will be, like, trying to dictate how you want to practice. When it comes to a situation when a patient is really trying to dictate how I'm practicing, I just take it back to the basics. Be like, I understand that you saw this on social media, but we're going to take it back to the biological process and the aging process, why I'm recommending the treatment that I'm recommending and why it works, and the studies that it's backed by. And a lot of the times when I just take the time to break down the science in this like a clear and concise way, they're like, oh, yeah, what I saw is stupid. So like it's
Yeah.
a lot of the times though, I really do think it's like, I'm like, oh my God, you're so educated. You don't even need me. Like,
Yeah.
but
No,
it's
that's great.
yeah,
That's
sometimes it's
great.
helpful, but sometimes it's annoying in regards to like they're like scared, but like they have this notion of like what they need to get treated with. But I guess annoying is the wrong way to describe it. But it just takes a little bit more talking through, which
Yeah.
is normal.
Yeah. No, it's you're absolutely right. I think mostly it's a positive.
Yeah.
I think that's true. It's and frankly, if it's too much of a negative, then that's probably a patient you want to treat anyway, because it's like, now that's a red flag.
And honestly, like a lot of the, I guess the negatives that like the fear mongering on social media with like the risk of VOs and blindness, I actually like that they're getting informed with that because a lot of people like don't even know. And as providers, it's our
Hmm.
job to inform them, but it's important that people understand these risks. But then as the provider and as the person that they're trusting with their face, you just reassure them about, yes, it's a potential risk, but these are the things that we do to avoid that. And the risk is very low. It can happen. And I really think it's more so helpful than harmful, but
Yeah.
in some situations it can make it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I have to say, it's very impressive what you've built so far. And you're just getting going. I mean, what's your goal? Like, what do you want to do when you grow up? Like, are you looking to build multiple,
I feel like I'm
expand?
grown up. I feel like I'm 60 years old. Okay, so the goal is 10-year goal is I really am actually very passionate about teaching. I really
Okay.
love empowering other people. When I was in college, I would always be the leader of the study groups.
Hmm.
You know that like some people are just like naturally born teachers. I really
Yeah.
do enjoy it. So 10-year goal is to step back a little bit from injecting. And I think if my patients watch this, they're going to freak the hell out. Not step back from the patients that are my OG patients, that,
Never
just like
them though.
from new
Yep.
patients, like really cutting that off and stepping back one clinical day and focus on teaching and training and maybe having an ArtMedica Academy one day and a Patreon and just really focusing on hands-on training because I really am passionate about that as well. And I love it. And it's so fulfilling for me.
That's
So
awesome. No, I
yeah.
mean, and we need competent, high quality trainers that are dedicated to safety. And you've been to the Academy for Injection Anatomy with Chris Zurich. And so obviously you've already learned from the best. So that's great. You're going to be at MSS, which I can't wait for those of you who are listening and want to meet Lina in person. She will be at MSS this year in April. And can't wait to see you there. Real quick, what do you do to relax? You're working, so much. You've got a family. What do you do on the time off? Like, what are you binge watching right now? Are you Twitter or not Twitter? Are you Instagram or TikTok? What's your favorite?
Okay, well, my favorite. Okay, I love TikTok more than Instagram, but lately I've been liking Instagram a little bit more. But
Mm,
I don't do anything to decompress. It's actually a really unhealthy habit that I have to work on with my
yeah.
therapist. And binge watch, oh my God, it's really bad. Binge watch, I haven't watched TV in so long, but
Yeah.
I typically don't because I don't have any time. But over the holidays, I had 3 days off and I caught up on Love Island Games season 2, and I was really
Oh
late. So if you're not a
boy,
Love Island fan, I know it's like trash TV, but
it is.
I
But
love
that's all
it.
right. What
I
about
love it.
Love is Blind? Have you watched Love is Blind before?
I've watched Love is Blind. I haven't gotten to like the latest season, but it's solid too.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
we don't get into Love Island.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, okay, that's good. That in and of itself gets your mind off things, so that's good.
Yeah.
Um, all right, well, listen, I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're busy. Where can folks, if someone has a question or they want to reach out to you and ask some additional questions, where can they get a hold of you? And what's your website for your med spa too, so they can check that
Yeah.
out as well.
So it's artmedicamedspa.com. I opted for med spa after ArtMedica instead of aesthetics. So I think it's hard for some people to type aesthetics.
It
So
is. It's a tough word.
Yeah, and then two A's next to each other. I was like, oh, it's probably going to be easier to do artmedicamedspa.com. So that is a
Okay.
website. And then if you need to reach out for any reason, the email is info@artmedicamedspa.com. I also have Instagram. I will say that my DM requests inbox is like really scary, and sometimes I don't see it, but the email is more reliable.
Well, I'm telling you, once you get to MSS in April, you'll have so many options at your fingertips for all of these things. So you're going to come back as just a changed person.
No, I'm really excited because I have never attended a conference that is more so about business ownership. It's always been injection technique driven. And as a new business owner, I'm really excited to connect with like-minded individuals and learn and grow and see what I can do better for like my practice, for safety and the legal development aspect of it. So I am really excited.
Yeah, I can't wait for you to see it because you're going to be blown away because there's so many folks who are just like you and folks who have done what you've done 10 years ago and are now teaching and have their own Patreon accounts. And there's also a lot of clinical training too, for those of you listening too. We've added a ton of that on too. So I really appreciate your time. I'll give you the last word. Thanks so much for coming. Yeah, thank you again.
No, thank you for having me. This was so incredible and a lot less nerve-wracking than I thought it would be.
I can't. You said before we came on that you were nervous, which just makes no sense. You're like a natural at this. It was not. I didn't believe you for a second. So, was this
Okay.
your first podcast that you ever did in your life?
My first podcast that I've ever been
Wow.
on ever. So,
All right. Well, see,
yeah.
and now you go. Well, thank you very much, Lina. We'll see you soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you to our producer, Madeline Moeller, Marketing Content Coordinator, who organized the podcast schedule and guests and provides topics and talking points. Audio and video editing, voiceover, graphics, and platform management has been provided by myself, Derek Hawk, Digital Marketing Supervisor. Our music is by Ghost Score. Thank you for watching or listening to the Medical Spa Insider Podcast. Please follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future episodes. For more information about the American Med Spa Association, visit americanmedspa.org. Reference to any specific product or entity does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by AmSpa. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on this program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. AmSpa provides this podcast as a public service for educational purposes only. This podcast does not constitute legal advice, nor does it establish an attorney-client relationship. Please consult with an attorney on any legal issues. And remember, compliance is cool.